Hey, happy people. I hope you're all doing super well. Please, if you can, in the chat section, just type in where you're tuning in from. And if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. I'll be really grateful for that, because my last live, I was speaking to the void. So I just want to make sure everything is running smoothly and we can get started. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me. And yeah, I'm a bit nervous because this is my first time doing this. Not technically my first proper time doing this, but I've done this before. But I just want to make sure everything is working okay. And yeah, so I'll give a brief introduction of who I am and why I'm deciding to do this. So a little bit of housekeeping before we start. I'm in a very noisy environment. Probably you've just heard a siren go by. My family is in the house, my kids are here, so I might get interruptions. And also internet issues, just in case my internet dips. I might come back, I might not. So just to let you know the current situation at the moment. But yeah, so I have my other screen next to me, so if you see me looking to the side, it's because I'm looking at the chat box, just making sure if people are here and watching, they can hear me. So for those who are here right now, please just confirm that you can hear me really well. And also let me know where you're tuning in from. So I'd like to know where you guys are watching from. But without wasting so much time, because we only have like an hour, as you've seen from the title of this live, it's how I got into sports photography. I'd like to thank my friend Rebecca for providing the icebreaker question, because I was really wondering what I should be doing the lives about. I was looking for a topic, and she kindly provided me with the first topic to set this live experiment off. Oh my goodness. So yeah, brief introduction about myself in case you're new here. Hi, my name is Elsie Ngare, and I'm a photographer, and I specialize in portraiture, sports, events, and documentary photography. And in the description, you can go and find my website, which is on there, and so my social media links as well, because I'm mostly active on Instagram and I'm active on LinkedIn the most, even though I have other links, like I'm on Threads, I'm on Blue Sky, the new one, I think, but I'm barely active on those ones. So Instagram and LinkedIn are the two that I'm really active on, and obviously you can find some of my work on my website. At the moment, I've taken down my portfolio on my website because I'm trying to rejig that whole situation. The website is live. You can always contact me on my website. On my contact page is there. My about page is there. So you can always go and check that out. And then once I've finished editing my website, all my current work will be on there. So yeah. Thank you for joining. I'm looking on the side corner. I'll answer best camera for what exactly? What are you trying to do? But I'll answer questions towards the end. So keep your questions and I'll answer them towards like the 15 minutes, like 7:45, because I'm here for an hour or so. So yeah. And Boogles, yeah, thank you so much for your compliment. So yeah, I was briefly introducing myself, my name and what I do. And then I'll be doing these live streams every Monday at 7 to 8 p.m., which is British, British summertime, BST, or GMT when the clocks change. So for the rest of 2025, I'll be doing these live streams every Monday, 7 to 8, if my schedule allows it. So I'm trying to do it like a weekly thing, if not bi-weekly, but weekly is my thing. So every Monday, be sure to tune in to my live streams. Connor, I've seen your comment here, best camera for sports. I'll get to it. So I'll share what cameras I normally use. So hopefully it will be helpful and valuable to you. So yeah. So with these live videos, as I was explaining earlier, with the live videos, I think in my previous live, I explained why I want to do this. For me, it's more like a confidence thing, like being able to talk in front of the camera, talk to my audience, ask questions, and just connection with everyone. And yeah, it's more for, I think more for me to be able to speak in front of the camera and just be confident. And also the good thing about going live, I don't necessarily have to edit. Yes. Because I have so much content that I have recorded over the years, not months, years, that I'm yet to share on my channel. It's the sitting down to figure out how to edit them and put it together. Like, I haven't been able to put them out. So this is also one of the reasons I'm going live, is just to put myself out there more and to share more of my work. I'm still trying to figure out, like today I was testing so much how to share my images using this platform and to showcase my work. I've kind of figured it out, but you'll have to bear with me if there's any like miscommunication or whatever, but we'll see if we can work something out, yeah? So without much further ado, I will get right into my journey into how I got into sports photography. And yeah, so what first drew me to sports photography is, I don't know, I came into sports as a fan. Because when I tell a lot of people that, when I meet people and they ask me what I do and I tell them I do sports photography, they always ask me, do you play or have you played? And I'm like, no, I'm not a player. I'm coming into this as a fan of games. Like, I like watching sports, so that's how I got into it. And that's what drew me into sports. Like, I just liked the whole vibe of athletes going out there to do their thing and achieving all of these things that I tend to achieve, of which I personally would love to, but I'm not very sporty. So it's like I'm living vicariously through all these athletes, and I'm in awe of them. I'm in awe of their discipline and all that. So, and even I get emotional when I see people winning. Even when they're losing, I really get emotional. And yeah, I tend to cry. So, so that's what kind of drew me into sports. And yeah, just being a fan of the game, and also wanting to document the environment with everything. I'm gonna probably see if I can share my screen so you can see exactly what I mean. I'm gonna like share a few images that will kind of give you an essence of what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna make myself small and then I'm gonna share some images and talk through them so you can understand what I mean. So like this, I was looking high and low for this photograph, because this essentially just sums up what I mean by coming into sports photography as a fan, because this is a photograph of me. I can't remember when. This is 2006, 7, 9. I can't I can't remember when. Um, I started going to stadiums for sevens, rugby sevens. And this photograph in itself is me in my jersey, my Kenya jersey, carrying my Kenya flag. And you can see there on my hip is my camera. This is one of the first cameras, to be honest. This is one of the first cameras that I used, like, quote unquote, professionally from the stands to take sports photographs. So the camera here, if I recall correctly, is the Canon 400D, very entry level camera. And on it, I had a Sigma 70-300 lens. And I think I still have it here. Let me see if I can. I have. Oh, the camera is not here. I think it's in storage. I thought it was in my drawer, my desk drawer. But yeah, I still have the camera actually, and the camera itself has a battery grip, so more battery, more power. And yeah, that's essentially my first, like, quote unquote semi-pro kit. I would say it's not a pro kit, it's amateur semi-pro kit. And that's where I started, like literally going to games, taking my camera with me. I don't think now they would allow you to go with long lenses. I don't know, because now I don't go to the stands anymore as a fan. But yeah, essentially that's where I started, like taking pictures from the stands, cheering Kenya sevens as they came to London at Twickenham. I think this is Twickenham. And I got frustrated. It reached a point where my frustration is what got me off the stands onto the pitch, because as I was taking pictures, my friends were cheering and standing up, and I was like, please sit down so I can take pictures. But essentially, this is what it was. Like, literally me. I can use my cursor here so you can see the camera there, the flag there, and just me in my gear concentrating. I don't know who took this photograph. I think one of my friends took this picture. And yeah, essentially this is where my journey into sports photography began, because I really loved. I remember that I had this photo, but I had to dig my archives to look for this particular photo, especially because it just speaks volumes of how far I've come with regards to taking pictures from the stands and then moving on pitch side. And then yeah, this is again just to show you exactly like how I used to be dressed up in my supporting kit, the top, my flag, camera on my neck with the flash on there. And this is with a friend. I hope she doesn't mind. Mary, sorry, I had to use your photo. But essentially, this was me, like every game, every sevens game, until I managed to get access, like apply for accreditation and get access. But I'll come to that in a minute. But this is where I started, to be honest, to be fair. And yeah, it's the frustration of this that got me to where I am today. But looking back at these photographs, I'm kind of super proud about how far I've come. So I'm just gonna quickly, yeah. And as you can see, like from the stands, this is Twickenham again. From the stands, this is how far up, like we were in like Kenya corner, as it's known in the seventh circle. Sitting in the stands. This is the view I was getting, and the reason I had the 70-300 is more or less to kind of like zoom in and photograph the players on the pitch. We used to sit at different sections of Twickenham. Like I think this is, if I'm not wrong, this is the I can't remember. This is east, this is west, south. This is north stand, I think, if I'm not wrong, because the tunnel is somewhere here on the right hand side of the photograph. So when we started out, we would sit either on the south side over here or on the west side on this corner over here, and then we were moved here, and yeah, we were just all over the place. But yeah, this is kind of what more of my when I was starting out, where I was taking the pictures, my pictures from. And again, I used to carry my camera around. This is not obviously Twickenham. This is like grassroots rugby, like just community rugby. I used to take my camera around. This was at Harpenden Sevens. My friends would like come together and have a team, and then we just go out. And I used to take my camera. For them, it was like an outing to play rugby as a community. For me, it was an opportunity to just take pictures and yeah, have fun with it. To be honest, I don't even know where the pictures from these games are. To be fair, but yeah, I just found this random photograph of me with my camera again, my 400D with the 70-300 lens on it. That was like my first camera, and I used to take it around everywhere with me. And I think I had a 50mm lens on that camera. The kit lens that came with it, the 18-55 lens. This was ages ago, now that I recall. But yeah, it was really like an experience, but it made me learn how to use my kits. And obviously, I don't know, I can't it's been such a long time since I started, but yeah, it made me learn how to use my kit, and obviously what to look out for in terms of upgrading. And also I realized, because I only had one camera, one lens, I could not change my lenses quick enough. So also learning how to move around and everything. And yeah, and I think with this, I kept mentioning to my friends that I would like a second body, I would like a new camera. I think at this time I'd already started looking for new cameras to buy to add to my kit, so that I could have two lenses. I began noticing that as well. So I have two bodies with two different focal lengths on the bodies, like a long zoom like the 70-300 here, and then the other body would have probably my kit lens. So I from early on, I knew I needed to have two bodies, so it stops me from changing lenses mid game. So I'm always just swapping cameras up and down, and that's what I do up until today. So yeah, and then I'm just gonna go through images that I've found through my archives, just to to kind of show you how far I've come. Again, this is a photo of Kenya the sevens team, once they've finished playing. And again, this was taken from the stands. I couldn't find the metadata for this to see which lens I used here, but I know for sure it's the 400D, the Canon 400D camera that I used for this picture, because that's the only camera I had at the time. And yeah, again, from the stands, this is where I started taking pictures for sports. And yeah, at least here, when with sevens, it's a bit relaxed. So if I'm on the stands at the top, I would always come down to the bottom of the stands, closer to the pitch. Obviously, I couldn't cross over because I don't have accreditation, but this is how close I would get to the players on the pitch, just to take their pictures. Now looking back, this photograph is not necessarily the best, but hey, I got it and I'm here showing it to you. So yeah, again, a reminder, whatever pictures you take, whether they're good or bad, keep them, because you never know how they will kind of inform your work as well. Whether they'll be used for publications, I don't know. But as you can see, this one is one of the images on the archives that I'm using here for the presentation, just to show you guys what how far I've come really. Again, just I don't know, I threw this in because I think this one I was in Kenya. I'd gone to Kenya back in 2009, and here I'm with the player Innocent Simiu at the time for Impala Club. So even in Kenya, I was still on my neck. I don't know if you can see that. That's my camera strap there. It's hidden behind the trophy. It's a yeah, Impala won the series. I think, is it called series or yeah? Uh, it's like Premiership here in the UK. So Impala won in that year, and that's hence the trophy. And then it's called Kenya Cup, I think, if I recall correctly. I'm so out of touch with Kenyan rugby at the moment, so as in on the ground. But yeah, again, I think even I'm carrying my camera bag. I can see here I'm carrying my camera bag. So I always had my camera with me. I think I photographed this game, if I'm not wrong. If not, I just went there just to yeah, get a feel of how the Kenyan rugby scene was like, and just be with my friends. Because even before I came to the UK, I started following rugby when I was in Kenya, and then I came here and started following it through sevens. So in Kenya, I was following the 15 sides of the game, but it was a bit like 15s, 10 aside, and also did I follow sevens? I can't remember. I followed sevens. I remember I did follow 10 aside rugby. That's another format as well. So yeah, but this one was the 15 side of the game. I went there. I can't remember if I took pictures or not because I haven't looked through my archives to figure that out. But I know I was on the ground. I had my camera with me. I documented myself in this space, and I just wanted to enjoy myself. So yeah, I just threw this in there to show you like yeah, I really am the fan of the game from way back when. So again, at this point, I think I started applying for accreditation at this point. If I go back, I think back to this and the Kenya, yeah, the sevens photograph at Twickenham. I think at this point I started applying for accreditation, and I was like, you know what, let me find out who to contact at England Rugby. And I think I contacted their media team. I just emailed them and I was like, hey, this is me. I think even before I started doing rugby, I was doing London Marathon, and I think I got that confidence from the applying for London Marathon press pass. So I just reached out to England Rugby RFU, and I emailed them and I gave them my credentials. I was like, hey, this is my name, and I would like to like, can I apply for accreditation for sevens? As in, I want to come and photograph Kenya sevens. I used Kenya as an excuse, obviously. And to my surprise, I got in. I got my first accreditation. I can't remember the year. Please don't come at me. I can't remember the year. And from that, I was able to try and apply for a lot more things. And as a result, I will fast forward to this, the Rugby World Cup Sevens in 2013. I was able to travel and photograph this tournament. I don't want to mention the country here because of I'm trying to read the room here. So you can Google and figure out where the country is. I'm not going to mention it, but as a result of me applying for accreditation at sevens in London and everything, I applied to cover the World Cup because I thought this would have been the last rugby sevens World Cup ever, because sevens transitioned into the Olympics. And I thought this was going to be the last one. That's why I really applied. And I used this opportunity to also travel. So, and this is what sports can do for you. So this is me on this photo, like outside, just on the right hand side is me going to collect my press pass, and it was near the players village. And then on the left hand side is me in the press room, just selecting my images and editing and filing my images. Ooh, the sun is really reflecting on the wall there, so sorry about that. I hope you guys can see me well. It's actually probably coming from the camera. Let me see if I can adjust that. Oh, I'll just turn the camera for now because the sun is setting and it's giving this weird halo, as you can see. So I'll adjust it back once it goes, because if I close the blind, the room will be very dark. Anyway, yeah. So again, with sports photography, it's given me the opportunity to travel, and I think this is one of the earliest opportunities that I managed to get to travel for using sports as an excuse to travel. And this was out of pocket, by the way, guys. This was not sponsored, commissioned, assigned, or anything. I just took the opportunity to say, hey, this must be the last one. Let me just try and apply for accreditation and see where it gets me. And I got it. I got accredited, and I traveled, and I was there for 3 days, covered the whole tournament, and it was an experience to say the least. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna use this sports thing as an opportunity to travel and to be in spaces that I will not necessarily find myself in. So yeah, I'm trying to the sunset is affecting my camera, so I'm gonna adjust it a bit, and I'm gonna sit right here. Right. So yeah, so this is why I'm sharing this. So just as for you to see, like, opportunities can come your way. You just have to make the most of it, to be honest. And yeah, and it's not easy, to be honest. It's not easy, and you have to be ready for anything. With this trip especially, it was like, wow, I had to figure everything out. Like, it was certainly interesting, but the fact that I went there for 3 days, there were 3 long days, but it was one of the best experiences, one of my best experiences with regards to me traveling for sports. So yeah, please, if opportunities come by and you can, don't wait for that commission, don't wait for that assignment. Just reach out to the people who are in charge and just ask, because that's all I did. I just asked and I got accreditation, and I made friends. Like, I've made a few friends through this, and the friends I've made through especially going for this tournament, we are friends up till today. So it was certainly an experience. That's what I meant. Next one is, again, it has made me be in rooms where I would not necessarily find myself, like, or in spaces where I would not necessarily find myself. Like, these two photos are like so different. And yeah, I have to kind of like say I'm really shy. I don't think I come across as that, but I am a bit shy. But I try as much as possible to document myself in these spaces, because you're always behind the camera. And I wouldn't have these pictures if I didn't take selfies or just ask somebody, hey, do you mind taking a photograph of me, and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, the photo here on the right with my red hat, that is me on the gantry at one of the London marathons. The gantry is one of where the runners run under. There's a thing up there where photographers are, and you take pictures of them crossing the finish line. So, and then on the horizon, you can see Buckingham Palace. So that's one of those ones. And the one on the left is a photo of, I think, 3 years to go before the Rugby World Cup. 3 years to go. So it means this was what? 2012? Yeah, around 2012. And this was in one of the rooms at Twickenham. Again, a room I would never be in. I've never been in that room since. We're in 2025, and yeah, the Webb Ellis Trophy was there. I think this was a media briefing, and again, I just, because of me applying for accreditation for sevens. Sorry, I'm just reading the comments. Let me just read this one from KD Broadcastings. Yeah, I've been shooting video and photos for over 20 years now. Wish I got more pictures of me like you have. Yeah, you see, it's really important. We tend to forget ourselves when we're in these spaces. Please, if you can, just even now, just give somebody your phone, like, do you mind taking a photograph of me doing this or that or that? I'm still working on being confident on asking people, but if I don't find anyone, now phones have timers. Just prop it up somewhere, set the timer, press the shutter button, and Bob's your uncle, like 10 seconds, 5 seconds, and just run to your spot and just take the picture yourself, or take selfies. But piece of advice, please clean your lenses, because when you're holding your phone on the ear and you're doing a selfie, that grease, that's why it looks hazy. Back camera, always have something to clean the lens with so the pictures look nice and sharp and clean, not hazy, unless that's the look you're going for. But yeah, so yeah, as I said, these are photographs of me in these spaces. Like I was saying, like, because I was applying for accreditation for sevens, and I somehow figured a way to ask if I could be on the PR list for World Rugby. At the time, it was called IRB, International Rugby Board. So I asked if I could be on the media list, and that's how I got to know about the 3-year World Cup thing. And yeah, I just applied. And the thing, the thing is, this was not for photographers. It was literally for for press, like journalists who write for newspapers. But I was like, let me just ask and see if I can find myself in this space. And that's how I ended up there. And I took this photo, and I think there's a video on my YouTube channel. I think it's called Photo Story number 3 or something, or 4, where I talk about my 10 favorite photographs from the Rugby World Cup, the 2015. Yeah, there's a photo there that I took of the people who are in that space at the time with the trophy. So it was like in a hallway and something like that. So I don't want to mention, and then in case I get names wrong here, but that's what's happening. So yeah, this is exactly how I got into this space and I took these pictures. So again, you have to put yourself out there. Like, these are the my early days of getting into spaces I wouldn't think myself that I would get into through sports. If you haven't realized by now, my sport of choice is rugby. And I do a bit of the marathon athletics. I tried to get into athletics, but I haven't been so successful. But with rugby, I've been really, really fortunate to be able to be in spaces and apply for accreditation and getting them. Not all the time, like mark you, not all the time. I've applied for a few, like the men's games. I've never gotten successful, not once. I'll keep trying, but now my focus has shifted to the women's game. So yeah, of which I'll talk about in depth a bit later. So yeah, if you're here and you're watching, please, if you have questions, I can see there's one question and I need to answer later on. So yeah, ask me any questions and I'll answer them towards the end of this live. Okay, again, see, Rugby World Cup. With this one again, this one was 1 year to go. I reached out, I think, to the PR agency that was running the events leading up to. So for a bit of context with this photograph, with this, especially with the Rugby World Cup 2015, I applied for accreditation. I didn't get it. So, but I kind of identified who were the people dealing with all the sideshows. Sideshows meaning not the matches themselves, but things like this: 1 year to go, ticket launch, kit launch. They were being dealt by a PR agencies on the side. So I kind of identified who those were through the emails that were coming through, and I asked if I could attend any of this, and they said yes. So that's how I got an opportunity to do this, and hence me sharing this. So any opportunity that I saw, I took it and I did it. So I did. This was 1 year to go at the London Stadium event. So this is how getting into sports is not necessarily about the action on the pitch. Always look for things happening outside of actual games. And I think this is why I wanted to show these photographs of me in the spaces. Just as an idea of what you can do with sports photography. It's not necessarily about going into stadiums and photographing the action that's happening in the stadiums or in courts or whatever. You can always to look for things that are happening around the games. So essentially this is why I'm showing you this. And let's see. Yeah, this is me, proud moment. Now I'm pitch side with my camera. And yeah, this is at Twickenham again. This was for sevens. So, and it has slowly transitioned from sevens because Kenya don't come to Europe anymore. And I'm now focusing, like I said, on the women's game. So I've been to Twickenham a few times for Six Nations. I think an autumn test, a couple of autumn tests, and then yeah. And have I done anything else other than that? I can't remember exactly, but yeah. But this is where I am right now. So just applying for accreditation and getting access. So yeah, let's see what I have next. Yeah, now again, Kenya Sevens. These are the kind of images that I really wanted to capture. Like this is one of the examples where I'm not in the photograph. Like that, this is actually my work. This is Andrew Amonde. He was the captain at the time, and he's holding the Bowl Trophy. But the format for sevens has changed since. So yeah, again, I get to document such events, and you can't do this from the stands, so you have to do it from the pitch. So let me see if my camera can come back because the sun has shifted a bit. Oh nope, it's still it's still setting. Yeah, so this is one of those photographs, like, yeah, I'm glad that I got, there are many like this. There are a few images that I'm really proud of, to say the least. And yeah, let's see what I have here. Again, applying for accreditation, London Marathon. This is press week, where you get the reason they have two photographs here. They have a day for the elite men, the elite women, elite para runners as well, and then celebrity day. So press week is really, really busy, and then press week happens before the marathon day, and also race day. If you're accredited, I have to pick whether do I want to go to the start, do I have to go to the finish, the gantry, and all of these things. But I think because of pandemic, things have changed. I haven't been to the London Marathon since this is before the pandemic. After the pandemic, I haven't been. But yeah, I used to cover London Marathon as well. So much fun, beautiful experience as well. So let me see what else I've got. Yeah, back to rugby. Back to rugby again, as in I saw an opportunity. This was at the launch for the Red Roses, like the official launch of England women being called Red Roses. And again, I was in that room. I think I was one of the few photographers present, freelance. I saw an opportunity and I said, you know what, let me go. The picture on the right, that's Emily Scarrett and Sarah. Oh my God, I've forgotten her name. And then Mohant. Who's in the middle? Oh my God, forgive me. I am so sorry. Yeah. Yeah, Emily Scarrett is on the far left. Sarah Hunter. Oh my God. Oh my God, I forgot her name. Yeah, Sarah Hunter and Natasha Mohant on the other end. So they were there present, and Maggie Alfonsi was moderating this. I have a photo of her speaking to the players as well here, and obviously the trophy was there as well. The Women's World Cup was there. This is the old one. It has since changed. They have a new one now. But they've kept, I think, elements of this trophy. I think it the handles are in the new one. So yeah, again, being in the space, asking, seeing an opportunity and just going, and yeah, documenting a lot of these images. And yeah, let's see what's next. Another opportunity to travel. This is me. I traveled to the Women's World Cup in 2017, which was in Ireland, but also not the final was in Northern Ireland. It was in Belfast, but this was, I think, the last day in Kingspan Stadium in Northern Ireland. So yeah, I took the opportunity, applied for accreditation. Applying for that accreditation was stressful. I wasn't sure if I was gonna get it because I was like, oh my God. And I think I blogged about it. Yeah, this is one of those ones like I was like, what? Am I going to get it? But I'm so glad that I did. I just took the opportunity again to travel. This was out of pocket. I was just like, you know what? I need to get this in my portfolio. And I traveled all the way to Ireland. I was with my friends, my photography friends. I was there for I think the last pool stages, and then the quarterfinals, semifinals, and eventually the final. I photographed the final between England and New Zealand as well. So this was such an amazing, amazing opportunity to do this, So yeah, this was stressful, but so much fun, especially if you can. And I think this is why I stuck with rugby, because I've made so many friends through photographing rugby and being in the spaces. Even with me taking breaks, excuse me, I think I need a glass of water. Even with me, what was it? I've lost my train of thought because I was so thirsty. Yeah, I don't know what I was saying. I've forgotten. But yeah, I'm just grateful for everything. Like, yeah, applying for accreditation for this one was stressful, but it's one of the things that I'm really grateful that I've kept at it, kept photographing sports because I've enjoyed it. I've made some wonderful friends, I have wonderful colleagues that I still talk to up to this day. And yeah, it's been amazing. I can't take it for granted. And even though I took a break, I think after this I took a break on and off for a while, because with this one I've just come out of studying for my BA, and then I went and did an MA, and then pandemic happened and it was just crazy. So yeah, and then I came back to it. I think this is the last photograph, so I'm gonna just bring myself back here. Yeah, guys, so that's the sun is still refusing, so I'm gonna stay. The sun is refusing to disappear, so I'm gonna quickly look at the chat box. And yeah, I've talked about social media kids saying now, if you don't have evidence, then it didn't happen. That's so true. If you don't have evidence that you're in these spaces, did it even happen? But I mean, this is going back since I started I took photography serious back in 2007, I think. 2007. Yeah, I was just taking pictures of my friends, and then sports slowly came into it. 2008, 2009, around there. And yeah, I've been doing that ever since. And it's not, I don't only photograph sports people, even though the topic of today is sports photography and how I got into it. I also do portraiture, as I said earlier, and I also do events, and I also do work on personal projects. And my personal projects at the moment are focused on sports right now, especially women's sports. So I think on my website there's a projects folder. You can go and check it out. Most of my projects on there are to do with that. I was just gonna slowly, how do I photograph and edit? Oh my god, that's, I think I'll leave that for another day, another live, on how I on how I photograph and edit my pictures, because that is something I'm also learning as I go along, because it's been really challenging, to say the least. But yeah. And then I think I have my notes here because I'm just going through my notes. That's what I'm looking at the moment. So my camera lens and gear at the moment, it fortunately and unfortunately, I have half. Fortunately, I have a camera that I use right now. I have my R7, Canon R7, and on it I have an adapter, and then I use my 17-55 lens on that camera because it's a crop sensor. The 17-55 is a crop lens, so it works well with that camera, and that's my kind of like wide lens. And then unfortunately, the other kit I have to rent, or I get it on loan. And my go-to at the moment is a Canon R3. And with it, it depends on what's available. But mostly I use a 70-200. All my current images that you see on my Instagram and stuff are photographed with that lens, a 70-200. If the RF is available, I use the RF. If not, I'll use the AF with a mount adapter. So that's how I use it. So my go-to camera for now is the R3. And then, so 70-200 lens I use. I've used a 100-400, of which my last sports vlog on my channel right now, that's the lens I used. I said new, it's new to me because I've never used that lens before, but it's not a new lens. So that's a correction right there. And then, what other lens have I used? I've used the 100-300 RF, beautiful lens. And then I've used the 400. I was scared of using the 400 because it's a prime lens, but I can now see why people go for it. But because I've been using zooms for so long, I struggled with that lens because I was like, I need to zoom in, I need to zoom out, and it was just there. So that's one of the challenges as well, because I use zooms so much. I found the 400 frustrating, but at the same time, it's just a beautiful lens. I can see why it's the go-to lens for a lot of sports photographers, like the 400 prime lens. Whether it's on Canon, Nikon, Sony, whatever, 400 is like, even the 70-200, those are your go-to lenses for sports photography. And because I use Canon, I can only recommend what I use. So, and then the 100-300 RF is also good. The 100-400 EF lens is really, really good, but if it's sunny like now, it's a really good lens for that. And yeah, and it's such a beautiful lens. I love it. I enjoyed photographing with it. So yeah, if I get money, that's kind of the kit I'm gonna invest in. Not the 400, because that is very expensive. So yeah, we are reaching up the hour time, but I might go over a bit. So yeah, just stay tuned. So let me look at the chat. So yeah, to answer your question, Connor, if you're still here, the best cameras are mostly what a lot of photographers use. If you're still here, what brand do you use? So it depends according to the brand. So on top of my head, Nikon, probably Z9, because everybody's going mirrorless now. Canon R3, R1. I've seen people using the R5, but I think the megapixels is a bit of overkill with regards to the R5, Mark II, Mark 1. R6 maybe, but go-tos might be the R3, R1 when it comes to Canon. Sony, I'm not very conversant with Sony, so I cannot advise you on that unless there's somebody on the chat who can put a Sony recommendation in the comment section. Please do. That would be beneficial for somebody. Other camera brands, I'm not so sure, but I think the go-tos are Nikon, Sony, and Canon. When it comes to sports photography, Canon seems to be up there, Sony as well, but please don't come at me. I'm just don't shoot the messenger, please. With lenses, as I've mentioned, 400 prime if you can afford it, if your pockets are deep enough, but the 70 to 200 is good enough. The 100 400 EF lens, the 100 500 RF lens, I'm not so sure, but I've seen people use it. And I guess, but it depends on what sports you're photographing, because every sport has a particular lens that will work for it. Because definitely you can if you want, but using a 400 for basketball is so you know what I mean. And on the flip side, something like cricket, you would probably struggle with a 400. You probably need to go higher depending on the pitch and where you're sitting, probably 600, 800, something like that. So it depends on the sport as well. But I'm not very conversant with this. I'm just sharing my observations. So I work for 3 different newspapers, magazines locally here in Birmingham, Alabama. Okay, that's cool. Rugby is really a cool sport. First sport photos I shot a couple of years ago. It was a huge rugby competition. I was out shooting for over 5 hours and I was the only photographer there. Yep, it can happen. It's happened to me. I've been sometimes the only photographer on site. And Bugless is, what's your go-to camera for photographing sports? I've already mentioned this. So my go-to, what I have, the R7. The R7 was an upgrade from my 7D, so it's like a transition from DSLR to mirrorless. And then if I'm lucky, I get to hire out the R3. So and I guess let's see if there's any more questions. There isn't any more questions in the chat. We have like around 10 minutes to go before I end this. So so if you have any questions, just leave them in the chat box, and I will answer them as I go along. But essentially, Slappy White, I've been watching for a little over 20 minutes and I'm enjoying your story. I do have a question for you. What is the process of getting your media credentials? Oh, that is a really good question. Thank you, Slappy White, and thank you for tuning in. My process is, first I identify what I want to photograph, and let's start from scratch. Like, for example, I want to photograph a local rugby team here with me, near me. So now it's easy and not easy because of social media. So I would probably go to the social media and see if they have a website. With a lot of grassroots, they don't have websites because they tend to be expensive to run. So if they have social media, I'll try and see if I can DM them and see who do I need to, or DM them to get an email, not DM them to have a conversation. I DM the club or whatever to get their email address so I can email them, so I can have that paper trail. And then what I do, I proceed to email and ask, hey, I introduce myself. I always have a template, email template, where I introduce myself. Let's see if the sun has disappeared a bit so I can turn my camera. Yeah. So I have a email template where it has my introduction, and then if I have a portfolio, I'll always put a link of my portfolio on that email just to show them a variety of jobs that I've done. If I've been published as well, I'll put a link. Like on my website, I have a page with my tear sheets to show that I've been published. But if you haven't done all of these things, but you have a portfolio or work, show them. This is where I'm saying websites are really important. Instagram and social media, let me not name just one platform. Social media is a tool. It's not a place where you can share your work to people who you want to potentially photograph for. And this is where your website comes in. If you don't have a website, sirens, if you don't have a website, create a PDF of your work, of something, and attach that PDF of your work to that email where you're introducing yourself. And if you don't have any of that, fine. You can always just introduce yourself, tell them this is what you want to do. You want to come for a game, and you want to photograph, and blah blah blah. You're just starting out if you're a beginner, and then just wait. There's nothing you can do, and just send the email. If they come back to you saying, here, come, this is what we do on this day, the game is on this day, just show up, and there you go. If they don't, keep trying. I would say keep trying, because there's always one person who will just say yes and let you in. I did it the other way around. I kind of went pro, and then I'm now trying to filter back into grassroots, to be honest. So don't do what I did, because it's getting harder now. So start at grassroots, because at least with grassroots you have freedom to move around the pitch, the court, the whatever. You have freedom to move around, photograph and see what works for you, what doesn't work for you. There's more freedom in grassroots in comparison to pro sports. Pro sports is very restrictive, because you tend to sit in one place, or you're told, hey, this is your pitch, stay there, photograph from there. And yeah, there's a lot of barriers with regards to pro sports in comparison to grassroots. So start amateur level and then work your way up. And it's also a good way of learning what sports work for you. You might go and photograph rugby one day and you find you don't like it. You go cricket and you see you like it. You know, it's one of those things you have to try. It's just trial and error and all of that. And I hope I've answered your question. And then, yeah, just that's the process of applying for credentials. Just identifying what club or whoever you need to speak to. Sometimes the email that's on websites, if they do have a website, they might have an email for the media person, or just a general email. Just use that email them and ask, hey, I hope this is the correct email. Who do I need to speak to with regards to getting media accreditation to come and photograph one of your matches, one of your games, or whatever? And they might end up directing you to the right person to do that. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. Slappy White, is it Slappy or Sloppy White? Yeah, Slappy White. Yeah, so I think I will leave it at that. Unless there's other questions, I'll give it like a minute or two to see if there's any more questions in the chat. So and I think I answered, because earlier on Connor asked the best camera for sports, and I answered that in conjunction with Buglers. I answered that question. So yeah. So So moving forward, yeah, this will kind of be the format, just an informal chat between myself and you, my audience, as to what I get up to as a photographer. And today's one was, how did I get into sports photography? I hope this kind of gave you a small insight into how I got into it. So yeah, so for the next live, which will be, again, I'll be doing this every Monday, 7 to 8 p.m. And yeah, I'll be going a little bit over, maybe, I don't know, but it depends on how the day goes. So I don't see any questions in the chat. So but if you're watching this after the live, you can always leave your questions in the comment section below, and I'll answer them. I'll respond to your comments right after that. Also, whilst we are here, for those who are still here, what would you want me to talk about in my next live sessions? Yeah, help me, like, pick a topic for next week. So you can leave it in the comment section, or you can leave it in the chat here. Like, what else would you like me to talk about next time? Would you like to see what's in my kit bag? Would you like to see how I prepare to how my workflow? Yeah, my workflow, like how do I save my images once I've taken my images? Like, what do I do with those photographs? Like, how do I save them onto my computer? What system do I have? As you've seen with the images I've shared here, all these were in Google Docs, because I had not saved any of my images of me in spaces, in a cohesive space, like in my hard drives. So I'm glad they were in my Google Docs, that I was able to like just pick them and throw them together into this PDF to share with you. But yeah, for the next live, let me know, what would you like to see me talk about or share? Yeah, and then I'll try and figure out how to do that on this live stream. And yeah, and if you have, like I said, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below, and I'll answer them once the live is finished. If you're watching this live after, again, leave your questions in the description below. I mean, in the comment section below. And yeah, as always, if you, like on the screen here, you can see that. Let me move out of the way, maybe, but the bug at the back is blocking. That's me. You can follow me on Instagram, and also in the descriptions there's links to my website, my blog. I haven't blogged in a while, and I think also my LinkedIn is on there. So yeah, connect with me, and if you have any questions, I'll be sure to try and answer them as much as possible. But I think I will end the live here, and I hope this has been very informative for you. And yeah, I'll catch you next Monday at 7 p.m. UK time. It's been lovely. I've really enjoyed this, enjoyed sharing a bit of myself on this live, and yeah, see you next week. Bye.